everybody. I'm the Vacuuminator.
I'm Buster.
And this week in Toku, we're going to be talking about a new Godzilla movie, the next Ultraman, and the 30th Power Rangers Anniversary Spectacular. Yay! Woohoo! But before all that, Buster, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I feel refreshed because I took a shower, so I'm good. Kind of been procrastinating on writing the next video, so I just uploaded a clip from the Modular podcast that we did a couple days ago.
Yeah, for no prize.
Yeah, no prize. And I was always intending to make that rant its own video, but I'm like, I can just do this and
I like that you didn't even really do any editing. It's just straight up a rip.
I did do I edited out a few ums and ahs and little tangents that didn't relate to the point, you know. Unfortunately, one of the audio cut out on one of my favorite things I said, so I couldn't include that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it happens. It was one of the only good things I said about the movie, anyways.
You're like, no positivity. Get it out of here.
Yeah. How are you doing, Mr. Vac?
I'm okay. Had a bit of a kerfuffle this morning, so I wasn't able to get as much done as I would have liked today. But, you know, I feel like I'm almost finally over this lingering cough, so hopefully I'll be able to get back to something resembling a normal schedule this week.
Very cool.
And mostly just being mentally prepared for the fact that there's a shit ton of stuff to talk about today.
Oh, yeah, we have... I'm so glad Doug Andrews didn't get subbed, because we have too much, man.
The one and only time Buster has ever said that.
Yeah, the only time I will ever say that.
This is a big one, folks. We're gonna be here a while, so I hope you've popped your popcorn and gotten in your comfiest chair all snuggled up to listen to two jackasses talk about Japanese superheroes. Hey, if that's a thing you do on a regular basis, don't forget to support us. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Follow us on Twitter at The Modular Media. Join the subreddit r/Modular Media, and follow us on Tumblr at Modular Media. That's all the things. That's the things you can go check out. But hey, it's time for news, everybody. It's time for the fucking mountain of news this week, because we have a lot of brand new developments this week. We have additions to stories from last week. We have updates on stories last week. And we have stuff that I just plain forgot to talk about last week because I was still sick and I wasn't thinking straight. So let's get started with our top story this week. The original Godzilla novelizations of Godzilla 1954 and Raids Again are getting official English translations for the first time ever. For those of you who aren't aware, these came out way back in the day when the movies originally came out, and they were basically made while the movies were being made. The guy got to look at the script and then just kind of went off and did his own thing while turning that story into a novel. So there's apparently a good few differences in these stories that might be interesting to check out for hardcore Godzilla fans. And they're being translated by a guy who's actually a professor of Japanese at the University of Minnesota. So this isn't like it's getting slapped together by a company. This is like a guy who really knows his shit and also happens to really love Godzilla. So he's been doing this as a passion project. It is coming from an official publisher, though, so you can go and pre-order it right now, and it's pretty fairly priced, I think. They're only asking $20 for essentially two novels bound together.
Yeah, I'm actually very interested to read this, so I hope this gets a Barnes & Noble's release.
Yeah, should be coming out later this year.
Yeah, October to be specific.
Yeah, and we got plenty of other Godzilla news this week, mostly merchandise related, so I'll try and zoom through some of this stuff real quick. First of all, 1954 SH Monster Arts Godzilla is getting a reissue, and oh man, I forgot how goofily accurate this thing is to that suit. It looks good.
Yeah, it's very good. I love the eyes. I know some people think the eyes might look goofy, but they kind of do give the terrifying feel if posed right.
Yeah, they look goofy just looking at the suit dead on, but the way they're shot in that movie, they do a really good job of making them look creepy.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of creepy,
yeah, we're getting a Bandai Movie Monster Series model kit of 1954 Godzilla. It's a little stylized. It looks a bit. It kind of looks like it's meant to look like a toy that would have come out at the time, but I think it looks really charming and neat. And if you're into like novelty Godzilla merch, this is one of those statue figure things I think would be worth picking up.
yeah, one of my favorite like Godzilla side designs, for lack of a better word, just little Godzilla design tropes that like sometimes pops in and out is eyes with no pupils. So this really appeals to me. So yeah,
Mm.
like
Uh,
eyes with pupils like works for Godzilla, but just I like it when it's like blank because that just gives off an extra like otherworldly feeling to me.
Yeah, there's something like if you give the eye an iris and a pupil, it's easier to identify with it as being having a similar level sentience that a human does. If you completely white it out, it's like, oh, this is something else. This is more
Yeah,
animalistic.
yeah, and I like that occasionally. I still like Godzilla with pupils.
Hmm. And hey, if you're not just a Godzilla fan, you also like the other kaiju's in his world. Bandai is making a new limited edition movie monster series Megalon vinyl in retro
And
colors.
apparently Megalodon is in your house.
Yeah, my dogs are flipping out. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that. That's the first time in a while they've just flipped out at nothing at all.
I guess they're really big Megalodon fans.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I know you don't like vinyls, owner, but we think vinyls are cool. They look like squeaky toys.
Yeah. But something more up your alley.
Yes, we are getting SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1991 Shinjuku Decisive Battle version.
Funny name.
This is a slightly updated sculpt of this. Is this Heisei or Millennium Godzilla? I always forget.
Hey say. Millennium
Okay.
did start till 2000.
Okay, yeah, this is the Godzilla from that movie that has the cyborg Ghidorah, and it's a slightly updated sculpt. There has been a SH Monster Arts release of this before, but I believe they've kind of gone back and tweaked it a little bit here to tie in with the cyborg Ghidorah and also the mega was it Gigan? They released something else that was from this movie recently. And this is just so like, hey, if you missed that original Godzilla set, now you can have the complete set of the monsters from this movie, and it looks really good. This has always been like one of my favorite Godzilla looks. It's the look I was introduced to him with, and they did a really good job of replicating it here in SH Monster Arts. It's releasing in September for $74. Probably worth it, but I don't know if I'll have that money in September, so we'll see.
Yeah. Alright, time for the big one.
Now for the thing. So Legendary came out of nowhere this week and announced not only is the MonsterVerse show happening, but there's another MonsterVerse movie that's already far along enough in production that they gave us a teaser trailer. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire is coming March of next year.
We already knew there was like a new MonsterVerse film being made, but okay, I guess we're getting a Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. And
Yeah.
apparently they're dating now, given the X.
That or just like they're fully embracing Japanese titling tropes.
I hope. I mean, either or, I'm down with. So,
And it looks like Lanky Kong's gonna be in this
yeah,
one.
Lanky Kong from Donkey Kong 64. Really pissed he didn't get in the Mario movie while Chunky Kong did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, at least we now have a new contender for best installment in the DK series.
Yeah. But yeah, I am tentative. I'm just more worried about what's gonna happen to this podcast when we inevitably cover this movie. Because like the last time we covered a MonsterVerse movie, the entire podcast got corrupted. So I'm like,
Yeah, and we were also all like, I think it was the fact that like we had Boingo on. At least I think we did have
We
him
did.
on that. Yeah, and like we all agreed exactly on the movie of like the human stuff is stupid, but it doesn't matter because the monster stuff is so good in this movie. and then like the fucking episode just imploded because that never happens.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, it really good. The last movie had really good action, and there was some cool human stuff with like the Kong side, but the Godzilla human stuff was garbage. It was like,
And this movie is going to have the same writer and director as Godzilla vs. Kong, and they're bringing back a lot of the cast except for Millie Bobby Brown.
yeah, she's probably too big of a name, and also her subplot stunk ass. So just
I'm sure it's one of those situations where literally like her contract ran out, and she went, "I'm not signing again for another one of these."
Yeah, like she was the better part of that subplot, but like the stunk.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I am tentatively interested. It'll at least be like, okay, if the same crew who's like doing the CGI effects are there, I'll at least look great. But like, I kind of want a bit more out of my Godzilla and Kong movie. Skull Island gave me something to chew on, and like a lot of Godzilla films give me stuff to chew on. Give me a little of that chew on.
True, but it's also like I don't expect that. I'm pleasantly surprised by that being in an American Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So if it happens again, let's fucking go. But also like, if I get something that's as good as Godzilla X Kong, as Godzilla vs. Kong, I'll be happy.
Yeah, we should probably expect that. I just like it's a sequel. You gotta like improve on some stuff. That's just my philosophy.
The fact that the MonsterVerse is continuing at all is still really impressive because they kind of acted like Godzilla vs. Kong was going to be the end of it at the time.
Well, that's because Legendary and Warner Brothers were pissing at each other.
Yeah.
It was a whole saga and a half. But anyway, let's move on to some ultra amazing news.
Yeah, first off, we got a SH Figuarts announcement. SH Figuarts Ultraman Z Deathseum Rise Claw got announced. I had to be reminded what this is for, even though the logo of what it's from is in the corner of the fucking image.
Yeah, this was Destined Crossroads and basically made up for the fact that Z never got a movie form.
Here's your movie form. It's blackface.
Oh, really? Really?
I mean, come on. It's that exact shade of black.
I guess. I mean, there's just a lot of black and gold repaints of Toku heroes out there, so
it's a big thing in Japanese culture, I know, but like it doesn't particularly excite me, and I still haven't bought any Zet Figuarts despite wanting to. So probably gonna be skipping out on this one because it's I don't particularly care for the look of it, and it's from a thing that I can barely remember at this point.
Yeah, I only remember the nice Zeref and Nexus parts, but that's only because I like those characters.
Yeah. But SH Figuarts did also tease Shin Ultraman Zeton is going to be coming out at some point. They're teasing more information on the 27th, so possibly we'll be getting a pre-order later this week. But you never know, because they've been teasing this thing since, what was it, Tamashi Features? We first saw images of it.
Yeah. Anyway, time for the most exciting part, the most exciting news we've had this week.
That's an opinion. Ultraman Blazer was officially announced. The debate is over. It's not Gazer. It's not friggin' Gaia 2.0. It's not Guzzler. It is Blazer.
Codename. Yeah,
it's not codename Ultraman. It is just Ultraman Blazer, and there's a lot to this.
Yeah, so much. It's basically just had the big unveiling. First off, all the rumors were true, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, should I break this down, or you?
I mean, Ultraman is generally more your realm, so I'm gonna let you break it down, and I'll kind of react to it.
Alright, first off, the big thing that caught my eye, we're not only getting an English sub-release, this is also gonna have a simuldub.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it should be handled by I'm guessing they did the Zet dub, because it's like, oh, this is the same director as Zed is doing Blazer. So, like, Taguchi, and, apparently he requested Zed to get dubbed from, like, I could be completely wrong about that, but, like, I heard something along the lines that, like, hey, he wants to, like, keep pushing Ultraman, and apparently he wants to keep pushing Ultraman even further, because there's only going to be one form, and the transformation device and gimmick will only have Blazer stuff. All of the other stuff they're selling with all the other Ultraman, that's only toy exclusive.
That's just in the toys. It's not going to be in the show at all. And this seems to be like the start of a new universe, potentially.
Yeah,
like
if this, like, I can see if this does well, they expand it into a TGG situation where it's like this is its own little realm of Ultraman.
Yeah, like the director Kayotaka Taguchi was saying that typically it's considered there are two pillars of like Ultraman. There is the original series and there's Tiga, and he was very happy to hear from people that they considered Zet to be like a new pillar because it was so good, but he wants Blazer to definitively be the third pillar, and that's kind of the idea they're going for.
Yeah. And also, we should probably tip something that will that we were concerned about.
Something's wrong, I can feel it.
The screenwriter of Ultraman Blazer is the same guy who's done Trigger, King-Ohger.
Yeah.
But apparently he only wrote 2 episodes of Trigger, and those were the Zet crossovers, so people were overblowing it.
Yeah, and like the thing is, you can make a bad show and still come back and make a good one. I mean, this is also a show that has like no nostalgia-ness hampering it, whereas Trigger was very much like, do you remember Ultraman Tiga? Do you?
And also,
Please?
Trigger had some production problems thanks to the pandemic, so that's a whole thing. Also, we should probably talk about the suit. I know you're a bit mixed on it, but I love it.
I like the helmet. I think the actual body, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't really work with my taste in suits. It's way too, not asymmetrical, but like it's way too all over the place.
A lot of lines.
I can deal with a lot of lines, but the fact that they're zigging and zagging all over the place makes it look busy. That's the word I was looking for. It looks really busy. Like, it almost looks like a image of an Ultraman that a kid took a couple of crayons to.
You can see that. And, like, I know a lot of artists have been having, like, oh no, this is going to be hard to draw about on this one, which, yeah, honestly. But I really like it. Kind of reminds me of Kamen Rider Demons, and not just because his transformation device also uses a similar LED technology as the Demons driver.
Yeah. Also, that technology, the first place I remember seeing it was Kamen Rider Drive Driver.
Yeah, well, like the newer version of it.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
like it has that circular motion that the Drive Driver had, whereas Demons is very much a square pattern.
yeah. Also, speaking of Drive, the main character is acted by the same actor who did Kamen Rider Heart.
Kamen Rider Heart.
Yeah, well, like that was not in Drive proper. That was a V cinema, but like, yeah, Heart from Kamen Rider Drive's actor is the main character here. And he
somehow looks younger than he did in Drive.
Yeah, I don't know what the makeup team is doing there. They're really going like nuts.
I guess either he was on some kind of weird diet, or like they really tried to accentuate his cheekbones in Drive, because like I can barely tell he has them in this.
Yeah.
And also, like, the main character he's playing is a fucking married man with a child and the commander of this science team.
He's a very accomplished man, and I can't wait to see how they'll torture him in this series.
This is an Ultraman show about a grown-ass man and not a young kid.
Yeah, and, like, Nexus kind of had, like, it had its cake and eat it too of its old man protagonist, because he was only in the first half of the show. But, like, that was more of, like, a single guy who was tortured a bit. He's kind of, like, a 30-something, but he's like, I have all this trauma. This is more just as, like, an everyday man, you know? So it'll be very interesting to see, like, how he'll play into this whole, like, story they're developing, you know?
Yeah.
I hope we get some wholesome stuff with his kid, you know, because I love that Alba Ranger, so I hope they play into some of that more here.
I hope at least, like, once every couple episodes we get a scene of him just going like, man, I love my wife and child.
Yeah.
Having a family's the best. Wholesome shit.
Yeah, I think because they are trying to play in this trailer a lot of the, like, oh, things are going wacky, and by wacky, I mean wacky intense way. Things are
Yeah,
going
because like
wrong.
a lot of this is like intense radio dialogue over him like staring ominously into the distance and transforming, and then night fights for days. Let's
Yeah, there's so
go.
many night fights. Also, I should probably mention the scream of the Ultraman is like nuts. It's
Yeah.
like some people are comparing it to Ava Unit 1's scream, and I can totally see it.
And like there's not even like a voice coming out of his transformation device, which is called the Blazer Brace, I think.
Yeah.
It is just like weird alien sounds, which is so unusual for Toku these days.
Yeah, I think if this does well, as we're gonna try to hope so, I think this could lead into like a new era.
Yeah. And apparently the reason they're being allowed to do like this crazy different amount of stuff that we're not used to is the fact that Ultraman did crazy well in China last year, and so Bandai said, "Oh, we're making enough money now, you can do whatever you want."
Oh, oh, man!
Yeah.
Only another franchise would learn to expand into regions. Okay, that's a whole. But yeah, Blazer's looking crazy promising. I hope this bangs. I have full faith in Taguchi and his team to make an amazing show, but I need everyone to be watching this, you know? I don't
Yeah.
want anyone to be dropping this.
This
It's
is
gonna be on YouTube. You guys can do it.
we're getting simuldub. We got to go up and down the halls with the pots and pans
Yeah.
every what is it, Friday, saying, "Hey, it's Ultraman Day, fuckers, get on YouTube."
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's Blazer Fridays, baby.
Blaze into the weekend with Ultraman Blazer.
Yeah, I'm so excited for I think it's like the most excited I've been for an Ultraman ever, I think. Cause like I was interested in Trigger and Decker. I kinda like Zet kinda crept up on me. Yeah. I'm very excited. It got me to go back and finish some other new gen stuff we'll talk about later, so
I am cautiously optimistic, but unlike usual, where I'm emphasis on cautious rather than optimistic. Emphasis on optimistic rather than cautious. Like I don't want to get my heart broken here, but it looks so good.
yeah, there's a lot of good shit happening, and I can't wait to see the other cast members in the coming weeks.
I hope they cast someone cool to play his wife, and she gets a lot to do in the show.
Yeah, apparently the rumor is Mio Kudo, Spectre's sister, and Kirime Pink is like gonna play his wife. But that's the rumor right now.
Interesting, because like she's a decent actress from what I've heard now. Her having been in Kira Major, I didn't. Surprise, surprise! I didn't like her in Ghost, but like, isn't she a little young to believably be in a relationship with that actor?
Apparently they're around the same age, so just we'll see.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah, well, like the character description's like they're both married. The man and the wife are the same age.
Okay, so
Again,
she's
make
playing older.
Yeah,
Because I think she was like 14 in Ghost, and that came out the year after Drive, obviously, and he was like mid to late 20s during Drive, I think.
Yeah, well, it could be a different character. We'll see. But that's like a rumor going around. I don't know if that's fully confirmed.
Yeah. I'll dubiously question that when it actually gets confirmed.
Yeah.
But little bit more about Blazer to talk about. They put up the demo video for the Blazer Brace, and we've already talked about it quite a bit. The big thing to note here is that the gimmick items, the Blaze Stones, they're not RFID chip, which they look like they would be, but they're actually a free slot reader system. So people are going to be able to hack the shit out of this.
Yeah, well, like I mean, I guessing they just do it. They did this because hey, it's one cheaper, and we're not really hiding any new forms behind here, so who cares?
Yeah. Also, we have an image of what the Soto, the basic retail figure of Blazer, looks like, and they like the gray plastic they used isn't like super accurate to the color he is in the show, but they painted on all the black, blue, and red lines, which I think is really impressive for a retail figure.
Yeah, I really want to get either a vinyl or the actual retail figure of this guy, like just because. Yeah,
It's like. I don't love the design, but I can acknowledge it's a good design. And hey, like this figure, he doesn't come with a weapon, because I guess he'll either not get a weapon in the show or he won't get it till way later. So they gave him a little flame punch effects part.
Yeah. We do see, apparently his finisher move is a spear. Energy spear he summons out, so...
Maybe we'll get that with a figure or something later. That'll definitely come with the SH figure arts. They'll have an effects part for that. But yeah, that's all the Ultraman news. So let's move into some Toei stuff. First off, they announced the summer movies. They're happening. As if there was any doubt, people. We're gonna get Geats and King-Ohger summer movies. They're coming out in July.
And people thought it was going to be a crossover movie because of how it was announced. It's just double billing.
I thought it was going to be them appearing at SummerSlam because of how bright the colors are.
I mean, that too.
Could you imagine that fucking SummerSlam is going down? I think it's in Miami this year. And instead of like Power Rangers showing up, it's Super Sentai and Kamen Rider.
Oh, that would be kind of hype. Like, I just see Toku suits in general there would be kind of hype, so...
Yeah. But let's move into some merch news for Kamen Rider, because this is something I forgot to mention last week. The CSG Kuga Bowgun was on display at the Narakiri World store, and we now have official images of it via a magazine scan, and the pre-order just went up today. So... yeah, it looks about as good as you would expect. It is actual size. It's a big prop replica. It looks just like the thing from the show, and it has a big attachment part for the rising form. That's all I got to say. It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks like a very expensive gun.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm buying it. Much like the next thing we're going to talk about, which is Premium Bandai has put up pre-orders for the DX Dark Tassel ride book, because Dark Tassel was a thing in the final stage show for Kamen Rider Saber, and let's merch that as well.
I mean, it's like we're right now in the week of Saber stuff happening again, so sure, I guess.
Yeah, I don't particularly care, but I'll tell you what I do care about. A poster came out this week for the complete selection modification Century King Moon Driver, which is the driver used by Shadow Moon in the Black Sun series. And I'm kind of surprised. I had thought we were kind of done with Black Sun merch up until just this week, but no, little promotional posters started showing up at various Bandai retail outlets, and we're probably going to get full pre-order information soon, so if you're a big fan of that show, that's fairly exciting. Just as SH Figuarts, Black Sun, Kotaro Minami, and Nobuhiko Akizuki being announced is fairly exciting.
They're doing the physical human versions of them.
Which, need I remind you, is not something Figuarts often does. So this is a real indicator that show did pretty well in Japan, or at least the merch for it has.
Yeah, and I guess because it's like, hey, it's an adult. This is Figuarts are aimed for an older audience. It's like adult. This is an adult Kamen Rider show.
Mm-hmm. And I think they look really good. The likeness for Kotaro is pretty dead on. Nobuhiko maybe looks a little flat, a little like late 2000s video gamey, but not bad.
Yeah, I have more issue with Nobuhiko's hair. It looks a bit too smooth compared to how detailed Kotaro's looks.
Yeah, they put like a wash in Kotaro's hair, it looks like, and Nobuhiko definitely could have benefited from that, but like, how often do we get SH Figuarts of dudes in civilian clothes? This is an opportunity that, like, even if you're not a huge Black Sun fan, you might not want to pass up, because this could be good for custom fodder or just background dudes in figure photography too.
Yeah, we're just thinking this could go really well with just customizing your own figure. If you want to make your own Figuarts for your own photography, you can get these guys.
Like, you could take, hey, I'm not sure if it would size out well, but here's a thought: you could take your Hasbro Selfie Series head and put it on these.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would size out too well, but yeah.
Yeah, because Hasbro's figures tend to be like a half a head or a full head taller than Figuarts, but it's an idea. I'd like to see somebody try it.
I was just more thinking like taking their clothes and putting them on other Figuarts.
But that's all we have to say about Black Sun merch now. Now it's time to move into Shin Kamen Rider merch, because Team Rider US announced that there's going to be a Puma X Shin Kamen Rider collab. We're getting shoes based on Shin Kamen Rider that actually look pretty nice. I think this is a nice kind of subtle homage. Like, obviously the logos are on there, but they're not super obvious. They're just on the I believe that's called the throat or the tongue of the shoe, something like that. I'm not a shoe expert, and I know collectible shoes are a big thing for a lot of people, so this is a nice way to kind of get in on that market. But also, y'all motherfuckers announced this before you announced the tickets for Shin Kamen Rider in the US. What the hell?
That was funny. That was a funny day.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to get these, maybe if I really like the movie and they're not ungodly expensive. I'm actually going to check the price right now. Oh, the site is down for maintenance. Great. So, I don't know. If they're not ungodly expensive, I might be interested in getting them, because I actually do have a pair of Pumas I wear quite regularly. They're a decent shoe brand, so... whatever. But moving on from that, we do have some good news about Shin Kamen Rider, which is that it is now the highest grossing Kamen Rider film of all time. It passed All Riders vs. Die Shocker and has currently made 2.2 billion yen, which equates to 15.2 million US dollars.
I mean, like, and people were like saying, "Oh, this film might have flopped." It has good legs, it seems.
Yeah, it's done really well. It's stayed consistently earning throughout its theater run in Japan, and like, man, I think the Shin name is just like a good brand in Japan now. Like, people see Shin, they see Hideaki Anno, they go, "Oh shit, that's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna go see that," and hopefully. This means they'll greenlight the sequel Anno teased.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll actually do a sequel to one of these shit things.
Yeah, and if you want to contribute to that maybe possibly happening and putting more money in Toei's coffers, you can, because we now have official information about Shin Kamen Rider tickets in the US. It's the same thing we talked about last week. Fathom Events is having one screening on May 31st, I believe at 7 p.m. EST for... everybody across the board. They have a bunch of theaters lined up for it. You can go to the Fathom Events site and find tickets near you. But also, when Fathom Events announced this, they said tickets were going on sale May 5th. And Buster, you already bought a ticket, didn't you?
Yeah, they didn't. I checked my email. They didn't refund me, so I guess I just have that ticket.
Yeah. I'm currently waiting for my next paycheck to come in, which will be on Friday, to buy my ticket, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna be going to this. I'll be taking the night off early to work and going to see Shin Kamen Rider, because who knows when I'll have an opportunity to do so again, and I highly encourage everybody else to do so, because like, even if you're not particularly hyped for this movie in particular, first off, what's wrong with you? Second off, when are you going to get another opportunity to see a Kamen Rider movie in a theater?
Yeah, apparently they were gonna do that with Heisei Forever back in 2020, but the pandemic happened, so...
Well, they should make that more of a thing. Like, I would love it if Fathom Events could... I could understand if they can't do it for Sentai, because, like I've always said, there's probably a conflict of interest with Hasbro, but, like, if we could get the Rider movies released as Fathom Events at basically the same time with English subs, oh, that would be such a nice world to live in.
Yeah, but first we gotta get some simulcast of the actual shoes, not shoes, shows.
Buster's like, I want to watch the shows on my computer. I want to watch the shoes on my computer. God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Moving on to something a little more relevant to this week, though, we have pre-order information for the roleplay toys for Kamen Rider Desast. You can get them for Premium Bandai, the book, the sword, it's all there. If you like this week's episode of Outsiders, go at it, I guess.
I mean, I might, but, like, I kind of want a figure art of Desast first.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now we also have some rumors about Kamen Rider Geats, because it is heading into probably its penultimate arc. With us getting into the 30s now, so a bunch of rumors have been swirling around, and a couple of different tweets kind of collated them for us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read these off, and then I guess we'll give some like hot takes. Tycoon, Nago, and Buffa will have final forms. They're all gonna be completely new suits using 2 new buckle combinations. Buffa Fever Muso is his final form. They're going to be sold as P Bandai items, similar to how Revice handled its toys. Geats, his final form is going to be Boost Mark 9, coming in June. Tycoon is going to get a fantasy-themed buckle coming in May. Nago, we don't know for sure. And Buffa, basically confirmed, is that he's getting a new buckle that will be P Bandai debuting next month. Kind of exciting. I like that all the writers are getting definitive upgrades before the end of the show. Because it's been a concern that, like, tertiary writers will get left in the dust form-wise for a long time. But also, fucking P Bandai.
Yeah, all the P Bandai releases aren't great, but hopefully these new forms lead to some great character moments for our cast.
Yeah, but that is all the writer news. Now we can move into Sentai news proper. First and foremost, Shogoken modeling projects Daireno has been fully revealed. It's a model kit of Daireno that can do all the things and is crazy articulated, and if you missed out on the Legacy Thunder Megazord, this is probably the thing for you.
They also teased the turtle.
Yeah, it's going to be coming out in August for 7,920 yen, however much USD that is. I'm not going to Google it right now.
Yeah.
It looks fine. I do like this, excuse me for being a filthy American, Megazord. This is one of my favorite MMPR Megazord designs, but I don't like it enough to buy a model kit of it. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks great, but I don't really care for model kits. They're too complicated for my eyes. Not eyes, hands. Ugh.
Yeah. I like how many like wild arm poses they're able to get into. That's really nice. Hopefully, a similar thing will happen as happened with the Astro Megazord when we inevitably get a Zap Thunder Megazord, where they just copy the engineering from the Shogoken modeling project, but make it not a model kit.
Yeah. Let's move on to King-Ohger.
Yeah, we got a reveal of who the Okuagata-Ohger suit actor is. Yashihiko Imami, excuse me, who has done a lot of rival roles in Sentai. He was Time Fire, he was Abare Killer, and he was Kuroshi Ryu? I don't recognize that character.
Geki Ranger, Daichi's counterpart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he, they said, hey, we got a dickhead Evil Ranger ripoff guy. Let's go to the original dickhead Evil Ranger ripoff guy.
Yeah, and like, hey, that actually, all those roles are very much like they stayed villains for a while, or antagonists for a while, so hopefully Raculus stays that way, because I don't think Raculus should get redeemed. I'm like one of those.
No, he's crazy and he needs to go down.
Yeah.
But we also got a casting announcement for The Secrets of King Recules, which is the name of the YouTube special. We got the name this week. And we also got casting announcements that 2 young actors are going to be playing a female scientist from Shogadam and her scientist, who are probably just going to be people for Recules to talk to.
Yeah, and probably betray, given his personality.
Mm-hmm. They did have like a blink and you'll miss it cameo in this week's episode too.
Oh, you gotta promote that YouTube special.
Yeah, but also we've gotten a teaser for a DxO Okuagata-Ohger Caliber. Ohger Caliber 0 is the official name for it. and they basically just posted a clean version of the transformation sound, and said you'll probably get information on this soon, and like, yeah, cool, great, but we're not stupid anymore, Bandai. We're gonna wait for the memorial version if we're gonna get this at all.
Yeah. Maybe they'll like because it's like gonna be P Bandai. Maybe they'll just memorialize it first, but I doubt it. So
Yeah. And then finally, we also have some King-Ohger rumors this week for the next quarter. First of all, there's going to be a spear power-up weapon specifically for Kuwagata-Ohger. So probably something similar to the Goldon Momotaro power-up from last year. But also, there's going to be a third robot called Caucasus Kabuto Castle, which reportedly transforms from the Shogadam Castle. Like, there was a, you know how they do those sponsors, Okarishimases, with showing the mecha just climbing around the thing? The castle they were climbing around, which is the Shogadam Royal Castle in this week's sponsor segment, that's a mecha! That's gonna transform at some point.
they pulled a Deca Ranger on us.
Yeah.
It's really gonna be a 20-piece combination.
Oh my goodness. They're going full Shinkenger.
Yeah. And also, I'm kind of like conflicted on Kuwagata getting a power up so soon, but they're kind of leading up to like him getting a big hero moment. So sure, let's go for it.
Yeah, hopefully it all looks cool.
Yeah.
But
no Six Ranger rumor yet, which is interesting.
well, the Sixth Ranger has been rumored for ages. It's supposed to be a green spider-themed ranger.
Yeah, well, I've been talking about like in the coming months, because usually by now it's like, okay, any minute now.
Well, remember, we didn't get like images of Jiro until like a week before he debuted.
True. Maybe I think I'm still in the Zenkaiger like era where it's like two guys are debuted in episode 8.
Yeah, no, I think they're being more careful this year, and also they've just been really tightening up their leaks over the last few years.
Yeah, and also they already have Kuwagata-Ohger, so.
And he just debuted this week, so they're probably going to want to give him a little bit of time before his shine wears off to introduce another guy. But that is all the Sentai news. Now it's time to move into Power Rangers news. And first and foremost, we have something that doesn't directly relate to Power Rangers, but does bear mentioning because it involves Hasbro. Hasbro and Mattel have signed a licensing pact to make co-branded toys and games. Now, for those of you who aren't like big toy nerds like me and maybe only kind of know the name Mattel, Mattel are the people who own Barbie, He-Man, Hot Wheels, Uno, that kind of shit. And they are also the second biggest toy company in America. Hasbro is the biggest toy company in America, and this is essentially them sitting down with their direct competition and going like, hey, we should make some crossovers. Let's make some crossovers. Let's make money together for once. And they've already confirmed there's going to be a Barbie-themed version of Monopoly, and a Transformers-branded version of Uno, and there's going to be a whole Hot Wheels subline that is just, here's Hot Wheels of the Transformers as vehicle modes. So, nothing directly related to Power Rangers just yet, but I have to imagine it's only a matter of time before we get, like, Power Rangers cross He-Man, or Barbie doll style figures of female Rangers, or something like that.
I will wait and see. Although this is kind of morbidly reminding me of the time Crunchyroll and Funimation collabed, and then one of them bought the other. So, I'm kind of concerned about the future of that, but for now, just, yeah.
Hopefully this is just like a calm partnership for a while. I think we'll know more by Toy Fair, which is supposed to be in the fall this year. But okay, now it's time for clarifications, everybody, because if you remember, last week when we recapped the most recent Power Rangers fan stream, we talked about the next wave of remasters, which is going to be green, red, and pink. And I said, during our episode, I said, like, hey, it's really cool that they made the shield fully swappable this time. That's going to be really neat. But don't worry, everybody. I'm pretty sure the shield is going to still come with green. Yeah, I was wrong. And it's fucked. This whole situation is pretty fucked because we have the full accessory layouts for these free figures. Pink is basically fine. She comes with everything you would expect her to come with. But green does not come with the shield, comes with 2 Blade Blaster options, and his belt is wrong. He has a holster for a Blade Blaster, but not a Dragon Dagger holster, even though he's still coming with a Dragon Dagger. And also, he never used a Blade Blaster in MMPR. He wore a belt with a Blade Blaster holster on it a couple times in American footage, but, like, he never used one in action. And then the Red Ranger is coming with his shield, and isn't coming with an Austin St. John head. Which, a lot of people have been quick to point out, it's probably because ASJ is in legal trouble right now. But also, like, if they have the rights to his likeness from the show. They can make it. They don't have to worry about that. The only reason they wouldn't put that on there, and I'm pretty sure the only reason he's coming with the shield is to justify not putting it on there, because they didn't want to put it on there because they didn't want to call attention to the fact that one of the original Power Rangers is in big, scary legal trouble right now. However, ironically, by not doing that, they have called direct attention to doing it by everyone in the know.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And, like, I don't know, this is completely screwed the pooch on the remasters, in my opinion, because it's taken it from, like, yes, these will be the definitive Lightning Collection releases of these characters, you just buy all these if you're a casual or if you miss them, and you're done, to, oh wow, you're gonna have to do a lot of kit bashing to get them to be the way you wanted to. Like, even to just get green to kind of be a usable version, you have to buy both green and red. If you want to have them all posed, like unhelmeted doing the morph posed, which was what I thought was the main selling point of these, you have to already have another MMPR red with an unhelmeted head. And if you want your MMPR green to have an accurate belt, you're gonna have to steal it off of, like, the Fighting Spirit green or something like that. And personally, I ain't about that. I was looking forward to buying this whole team, having them be, like, the updated definitive versions for my shelf, and, like reselling my 2 MMPR reds and my MMPR black. But now that this is a thing, I'm sorry, I did already buy blue and yellow, but I'm backing out on the rest of these. I'm going to, I guess I'm gonna hunt down Wave 7 green, and, actually, you know, I'm pretty sure last time I was in my local vintage toy store, they had the MMPR and Zeo Cat 2-pack, so I'm gonna get that for my MMPR pink and call it a day, because this is just, like, I think Josh did a huge video running this down really well, and I would recommend checking it out. It's one of the more recent episodes of Lightning Storm by the time this comes out. But, like, he kind of hit the nail on the head when he said that, and he was even stealing this from somebody on Twitter, he admitted, this isn't remastered MMPR red and green. This is demastered MMPR red and green. What's a good word for it? It's not optimal. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know, man. Friggin' giving MMPR green Blade Blasters, too, is, like, the most egregious part of this to me. When, like, the Sword of Darkness is right there, and you fuckers have a mold for it. Every other MMPR green has come with it. Why not give it to this one? What are you doing? So close to being back on track, and then this shit happens. And also, just as an update, we still haven't gotten a pre-order for Remastered Black, and because it's supposed to be part of a repack Wave 2 with blue and yellow, Josh is now saying he just expects it to go in stock on all the websites whenever it's ready to ship. So look forward to having to scramble to grab that if you're still being completionist on the remasters.
I just find it like morbidly monkey's paw about how we were all worried about the remasters for QC, and there's like a bunch of other issues.
It's so frustrating. Right when they get their shit, it's a pattern with this line that we're stuck in now. Of like one problem arises, we browbeat Hasbro into fixing it, and then they fall flat on their ass, having another one immediately after. I don't know. It's Jesus Christ. Okay, let's talk about some more MMPR merch. A company called HalloweenCostumes.com is doing MMPR-themed sneakers. If you don't want to pay the ridiculous amount of money for the Jordans, here you go.
They look fine.
They look really cheap, honestly.
Yeah, well, for the price they are, it's $40. That's like cheap. That's chump and sneaker change.
True. All right, let's move into some once and always coverage. First of all, we now have a video posted by Netflix of that once and always meetup at the Grove in LA of the big ridiculous performance that a bunch of suit actors put on. And it's a cute little video. It's neat seeing what all was there, though. It's really funny, like how haphazard a lot of the costumes they brought out were, because like they clearly have the new suits for Rita, the two monsters, and the Rangers, but also for some reason they threw in a shit zillion putties and a shit zillion doubles of the Rangers, and all the doubles are wearing like Party City costumes.
Okay. I didn't look at them. I just I don't know why. Just behind the scenes stuff, like events, kind of like maybe because I'm just an introvert. They just kind of scare me.
Well, hey, speaking of being introverted, it is pretty funny that frickin' everybody but Walter Jones was just looking at this through their phone. Like, Walter Jones is actually watching it and having a good time, because they film their reactions, but, like, right next to him is David Yost just looking at his phone like, yes, I am getting content for my Instagram right now.
Yeah. Or he's just watching Family Guy or something, I don't know.
He's that disinvested at this point.
Yeah, it's like that one meme where it's like, like freaking Creator Clash silly. Let me pull up some Family Guy or something.
Oh my. All right. Moving right along into some behind-the-scenes information for Once and Always proper. We now know what the stunt team was for all the civilian fights, and it's a lot of the same people we've had before. But we now get to see them, like, hilariously made up to kind of look like the MMPR actors.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, this is just nice to know. There's also a behind-the-scenes reel that Netflix put out of a lot of the more action-oriented scenes, and, like, that's cool to watch, but, like, there's nothing super surprising in it. Nothing that, like, looks like it was cut or cut down. Just, like, here's another angle of it that shows you all like the crash pads we cropped out.
Yeah.
And also, it leaked out this week that there's production photography of Charlie Kesh wearing the Yellow Ranger suit unhelmeted. No
wasn't
idea
in the special.
Yeah, so no idea what they're gonna use that for. If there's like a Charlie or like a Min as the Yellow Ranger figure coming that will have those photos on the box, but
probably just for the website.
Yeah,
they usually do that for like Dino Fury and Beast Morphers for the website. So.
It is what it is. There's also a shit zillion tweets from Simon Bennett because
after Pookie.
Yeah, as soon as the special released, he immediately started taking questions on Twitter and has been very forthcoming with all the behind the scenes information and clarifying what all has gone down with it. I'm not going to bore y'all by reading them all off verbatim here. We'll have links to a lot of what I thought were the like the standout ones in the video description, as well as all the rest of the news links. But suffice it to say, we basically know everything we could have wanted to about Once and Always at this point, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that in just a little bit here. But also, Once and Always did fairly well on Netflix. Like, it wasn't a huge success, but it was number 3 on Netflix in the US, number 5 in the UK, 6 in Mexico, and 7 in Belgium. So it cracked Netflix's top 10 in a lot of countries, which I think is a good sign for like continued success of Power Rangers on Netflix.
Yeah, or at least like I think movies, like I think little specials in movies will be. I'm not sure how Cosmic Fury will do, and like Dino Fury did well in the kids section, you know, where it matters. So like it got in the top 10 on its like when it released new episodes on the kids section. Nobody reported on it because nobody pays attention to the Netflix kids section. But hey, that it matters.
Definitely. And lastly, this is definitely a rumor, hearsay, conjecture kind of thing, but PR unreleased on YouTube and excuse me, Twitter just reported earlier today that all of his uploads of the soundtrack for Once and Always were blocked in most countries as an audio claim, which means somebody went in and specifically said, yeah, no, we own this music, we don't want you posting it on YouTube, which is usually a thing that's only done when they plan to officially release the music or it has already been officially released. Like, he's been doing this since the beginning of the Neo Saban era, like clearing out the audio to give people a look at what the soundtrack actually sounds like, and he's never had this problem before. So it's entirely possible we might get an official soundtrack release for Once and Always from Ron Wasserman.
I would be into that.
Yeah. But
Right.
I think that is all the news that's fit to print, finally. So, Buster, if you'll give me just a second to clear my sinuses and take a drink of water, I would like you to take us on to the new releases after that.
All right. We got a busy week, folks. There may be no new Dog Enders, but we got a lot to talk about. Oh boy, we got like a Netflix special. We got a Toei Tokusatsu fan club. We got the usual superhero time. All right. Hopefully, my gassing up of these new things has given Vac enough time. It did not. Dang it.
Sorry, I lost where the unmute button was.
It happens. Anyway, it's time, fellas, for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always.
This was way better than I expected it to be, and I was already expecting it to be pretty solid. Like, I have a few, like, minor continuity nitpicks with this, but overall, I think they did a fantastic job with all the elements available to them.
Yeah, I like the special a lot. It had, like, some really good themes to it, I think. And I think there's just, like, a lot of great themes to it that, like, kind of coalesce into a nice message about legacy, you know?
Yeah, there's an incredible balancing act going on here of, like, it is very seriously dealing with the passing of Tui Trang, but it's also telling a story that is very fun and nostalgic and filled with member berries for all the hardcore fans and doesn't feel alienating to any audience in particular. This feels like something that is definitively meant for longtime fans, but can still be watched by the target audience.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of lapsed Power Rangers fans come here to the special and be like, yeah, I enjoyed it. So, like, that's a good sign.
I was actually talking just yesterday with my friend who's, I jokingly call him an MMPR normie, but he watched the entire Zordon era, and, like, he knows things about the later seasons. But he watched it the day it came out, and he really enjoyed it, except for, like, a few, like, you could have done a little more here or there. And we actually ended up watching the whole thing through again and just kind of, like, doing our own little commentary of it on Sunday, and it was a pretty good experience for him, it seemed like.
Yeah, like a lot of people are enjoying it, and I'm glad it is. Like I have some critiques, but overall, it came from a good place, and I found it very entertaining.
And it never feels at all like they're treading too far. It always goes like it has the right balance of this is definitely something that is serious and it's being taken seriously, but it doesn't feel morbid at all. And it very easily could have. Like, Bennett even said on Twitter, like, they had originally planned a scene of, like, them going and seeing Trini's body down at the bottom of the cliff and retrieving her morpher, but in editing they decided that's way too gruesome and decided to just have her be vaporized.
Yeah, that's a way better cut, honestly. Like, that I would not have liked that.
And I mean, like, they do a lot for the other characters, too.
Yeah, like, I love Zach's uncle arc here.
Yeah, Zach getting to be the cool adoptive dad who has a serious streak. Like, listeners of the show know I was criticizing Walter Jones' performance in, like, the preview clips and the trailer a lot, but now that I've seen it in full context, it makes perfect sense, because they say, like, oh yeah, Zach had to grow up because he became a United States congressman, and then he had to take care of one of his friends' orphaned daughter.
Yeah, and I find it interesting how they decided to tackle the peace conference by, like, he just became a politician, and and they did decide to Omega Rangers it. I really appreciate them just be like, no, this is the hand they dealt us. We're not gonna change anything. Like, and just using that for, like, new stories. That's great.
Yeah, and it also just, like, opens up that fan, like, oh, well, what does that mean for everyone else engine? Because, like, in this, we get it pretty much firmly established. Zach became a congressman. Billy became a tech CEO. Tommy, we know from past appearances, he went off and became a doctor of paleontology, but also him and Kat got married and had a kid, and we know in here now Kat's a soccer mom. Rocky became a firefighter, and we know from Forever Red that Jason became a motorcycle owner.
Yeah. Or like just a Lone Ranger is what I'm thinking. Not Lone Rangers. That's a terrible.
He became Army Hammer.
No, he just like a lone rider, we'll say.
Yeah, and we also, but it does raise the question of, like, so, like, before she died, because we see on the headstone, like, Trini lived to be 45. What was she doing to afford that big ass house? Because, like, I can buy that Zach could afford it after he took over guardianship of Min, but what the heck kind of career did Trini have? I would have liked to have gotten, like, a drop. She was also at the
peace conference, so maybe she was, like, a fellow fellow with Zach? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, like, she became the governor of California, because they do show, like, yeah, Angel Grove is still definitively supposed to be in California, because the Rad Bug has a California license plate.
Yeah, which I have no idea how they got that past the New Zealand guys, but sure.
Does make me wonder, though, what party you think Zach represents?
You know what? I think I'm gonna leave that to the audience. I don't know. I'm gonna, like, no, we're not touching that with, like, a 5-foot pole.
Yeah. They had your man Walter Jones wearing, like, a completely black suit in that one scene, so.
Okay, yeah, well, I think that was more for funeral. But, like, anyway, actually, what I was gonna say on the elaboration of Congressman, it does kind of play into, like, the hopeful optimist, like, the to, like, an unrealistic degree that MMPR had, in my opinion. So, like, that's a neat little touch.
You've got Aisha and Adam doing space stuff, exploring the galaxy and sort of expanding humanity's reach.
Yeah, and Simon did confirm it was an SPD reference, so.
I would have, like, I full on marked out when they name dropped the Trubian Empire.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have gotten just a bit more time with those characters, though, because they're only really there for, like, 2 scenes.
Yeah, especially Johnny Youngbosch, but I also do get it. He's busy, like, he got a lot of anime voiceover things to do, so. Yeah.
But I also, I did really appreciate, I should say, that they used archival audio for everybody during that opening scene, except for Austin St. John, again, probably because of his legal troubles. But they didn't dub them over, they didn't do new voices, they didn't have the Ranger actors they got for this special do ADR for that scene. Like, no, they pulled out old ADR from episodes of MMPR, and had Austin St. John, or not Austin St. John, Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, and Tui Trang's Hayaz in there.
Yeah, that's good shit. And also Robo Rita. I really dig her. I think she was a really cool villain. Especially I really like her
Might be
origin.
Barbara Goodson's best performance ever.
Yeah, she did really good in this. She's already a great voice actress, but like she like you could really tell she refined her craft here and like put out a really banger, like malicious but still petty villain performance.
Yeah, like
Uh,
Rita sounds genuinely threatening in a couple scenes, which is something I'm
yeah,
not used to, but it's fun in the same way of like seeing a ranger directly try to fight her is something I'm not used to, but is fun.
yeah. And like I was gonna say, I like her origin because basically the entire reason she's here is because Billy tried to bring Zordon back, but accidentally brought Rita back because her particles was in the Z wave, and like it basically hijacked the alpha unit he was using, and that led to like Treaty getting murked. So it's kind of his fault, and it's like this whole like through line about you gotta like go to the future, but you can still respect the past. You know, you can't like willing like the past is cool, but it can also bring some evil things if over focused on. You know.
Yeah, some really smart thematic and character writing there too, because like Billy was always the scientist guy who tried to fly too close to the sun, and keeping that in there with this character and having it be a learning experience for him as much as it is for Min, where like she has this whole arc of being a bratty teenager and even like says this is all your fault at one point to Billy, and then
Yeah.
later in the final scene has to apologize to him for it, and he's like, you didn't say anything I haven't thought about myself over the last year, which, my god, that's a mature line for Power Rangers.
Yeah. If I make it emotional for a sec, I think I'm gonna bust out the personal thing
Oh
that
boy.
kind of like yeah. So I'm gonna get a bit serious. As listeners might know, I recently lost a couple friends in a crash recently. Um, and this special, they were never Power Rangers fans. We're very much like video game YouTube guys, but like it reminded me a lot of them about like thoughts I've had about it and like just like whole legacy thing and the special didn't make me cry, but afterwards I was pretty sobbing hard just thinking about it all. So I
Yeah.
will say it was pretty like kind of comforting to see one of my favorite franchises like do a story like this, a relatable story for me like this. So,
hmm
you know,
And I've heard a lot of people got teared up at several points during the special. I didn't, which is surprising because I'm usually pretty quick to tears, I'll admit. But like a few days after watching it, there was a point where I was at work and I was thinking about the bit of archival footage they used for a tribute at the end, and like
mhm.
I just couldn't get out of my head, and it was one of those moments where I was like, I need a minute I need to sit down and process this for a second. Oh shit.
Yeah, actually speaking of like tribute, I actually really like how they used one of like Amy Jo Johnson's corny songs at the end. That just felt very like touching.
Yeah, which apparently they actually got her permission to use that clip, which they totally didn't have to, but it's cool that they did.
Yeah, like they really again they're pulling up all the stops. Now let's move on to the big elephant in the room. I mean, there is a CGI elephant here. Yeah, the CGI. I already said this on Twitter. It's rendered better than Sentai's, but it doesn't move as well as Sentai's.
Well, here's the thing. I think the movement is very intentional. I think they're really trying to make it look like it's moving like a robot, which is
Mhm.
something we haven't seen with many Megazords before. So it
Fair.
looks wonkier than we've come to expect, when in reality it's probably actually more natural for a character like that. And I think the rendering looks really damn good during the summoning sequence. It's just when they get on the moon where you don't have a lot of natural light sources that the cracks start to show.
Oh yeah, like the summoning sequence is perfection, but then when you get on the moon, it's like I mean the transition to the moon is cool, but when we're actually like fighting, that's a bit like eh.
I also do like that they actually went into tank mode for a hot second. They didn't go directly to Megazord
Oh yeah,
mode.
they just completely redirected like because every MMPR transformation they do tank before Megazord, like even if they're not using tanks. So that was a neat little bit of continuity.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is confirmed by Simon Bennett. They used the CAD files for the Zap Megazord. He
He
didn't
doesn't
know
know what
that.
a Zap Megazord is, though.
He doesn't know what he didn't know that's what it was, but like Hasbro sent them specifically CG models that were for toys, and like that's the only toy it could have been from because the Zap Megazord has all kinds of extra detailing on it that this CGI model has, and no other appearance or toy of the original Megazord has had.
Although this does basically confirm we're getting a Robo Scissors.
Oh yeah, I am definitely down for that because the predictions were right. They did use the Lightning Collection figures for the captured Rangers. Weirdly, they covered the joints with the MMPR Rangers, but the rest of them, it's blatantly obvious. Like, yeah, those are the Lightning Collection figures. So, like, the Lightning Collection is canon now?
I guess like the Lightning Collection's just Rita's. What happens if Rita zaps your favorite Ranger? I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely need to make a Robo Snizzard and have it come with like a very specific snake part that you can wrap around a Lightning Collection figure that looks like it's been captured like they do in this special.
Yeah. Also, sadly, no Bryan Cranston for Robo Scissor, but the voice actor did a really good job.
Yeah, the voice actor got really close to the original voice I thought.
Yeah.
And like another thing with the captured Rangers, they didn't have to, but they go out of their way in this special to just like reinforce, like, yeah, no, Kat is JJ's mom. Her and Tommy got married. Suck it, Kirami shippers.
Karami.
Or Kimami shippers. I don't know what the way you pronounce the Tommy Kimberly ship name is.
Yeah. Although like there was because JDF passed before after the special was filmed, so there is a bit of like a little emotional when like Kat's just like unintentional extra emotion when Kat says we got to get Tommy back, you know. So it's like oh yeah.
It was very clever though how they got around not having JDF for the special and a lot of the actors for the special of like they got to go back to Aquitar to get rejuvenated. Which
Yeah.
again, it's a lore thing, so it makes sense.
Yeah. And also, it's
Um,
just like they just used their suits, which is like, yeah, they did it with the Dino Charge and Beast Morphers. Yeah, it makes sense to do it here.
yeah. Trying to think. We've kind of touched on Min, but like, how did you feel about her as a character overall?
But she's great. I really like her. Basically, she met my expectations. Her actress did a great job. The only time I felt like her actress like kind of phoned it in was the morphin time line they used. That was like a bit weak, and I was like, that's supposed to be the big moment, and like that fell a bit.
Yeah,
thin.
she has a couple lines that are like clearly ADR'd in like that, and when she asks Zach if he's breakdance fighting, they just sounded different for some reason.
Yeah, maybe it's like she tried to go with a bit more enthusiastic, but like again, there are probably better takes they could have used. So just that take specifically.
But I do love that they, like, we already knew from behind the scenes footage that they were going to do this, but they fully recreated the original morph sequence. And for the first time ever, we get to see what a Mighty Morphin Instamorph looks like.
Yeah, they look pretty good. A couple people made some really cool edits, but like for in the actual special, like it's still pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and we did get one non-MMPR character cameoing in this.
Who?
Anne from Dino Thunder is in this.
When?
She's the news reporter.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Annie, the Buzz Blast intern, is a news reporter at Angel Grove now, apparently, or she was at some point before Dino Fury, because Simon Bennett says this takes place before Dino Fury.
I guess they just used the actress as like you're a reporter actress, you know. Maybe maybe it's like a Nurse Joy thing or something.
That would be fun. She's got a twin sister that lives in Angel Grove.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not really much else I could say. I think we said everything. It's pretty good. Would recommend.
Yeah. Feels very authentic and fitting for the 30th anniversary, and like we've said a lot of times, like, yeah, would it be cool to see them do stuff like this with the rest of the franchise, or have had the rest of the franchise involved? Of course, but like the fact that they explicitly labeled this as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always really made me comfortable with the fact that this is just a new MMPR episode set like 20 some odd years later.
Yeah, it's the finale we never got, as I say.
And
Like it's like
go ahead.
It's like we couldn't like basically in the back in the day we couldn't have like proper conclusions for every character. This is the proper conclusion for every character we could have got what people wanted for a while.
Yeah, because we get an update on Billy finally getting David Yost back in the show. Same thing with Walter Jones, but like they don't like explicitly they don't bend over backwards to explain how Billy got better. It's just he got better and he's living on Earth running a tech company now.
It's
And that's
focused
all
on
you really
telling this
need.
touching story rather than like just be like lore. I mean, there's lore in this, but like it's not. It's more. It's I feel like it's more character focused than like lore focused, which is for the best.
Which, by the way, I think most of us were like crazy excited for David Yost, but hats off to Walter Jones, MVP of this special.
Oh yeah, he acted his ass off, like especially during the emotional moments.
He just has this like look whenever he's talking to Min of like clearly he is hurting, but he's trying to put on a brave face because he doesn't want her to hurt.
Yeah, his emotional faces in the special have kind of been burned into my mind, like when I've been thinking about it, which is pretty good. I just think there should just be more little Power Ranger specials, like not even just
Yeah.
like of returning actors, just like do a special episode of Cosmic Fury that's just like a movie length, like little like tie-in film. That I
Well,
think that
like, just start following Toei's pattern, but with Netflix. Start up like a Toei Tokusatsu fan club style X years after series, bringing back various Ranger casts.
yeah, I'm not sure if they can do like every Ranger cast, but like I just like use what you have to make some more like little movies, you know?
Bring back some of the fan favorites, keep building out the universe, while also having very much a tentpole show like Cosmic Fury.
Yeah. Which actually, I know Simon said Cosmic Fury will be aimed more for kids compared to Once and Always, which they intended for adults, which is very interesting. So I'm curious what that will mean. I think that's just like marketing wise. It's like Cosmic Fury is for like all ages. Once and Always is specifically for the hardcores. So
Yeah, and considering how well both this and Dino Fury turned out, I'm not at all worried about like Cosmic Fury being too kiddie or something like that.
yeah, even then, like they said, the writers have said they're going to use Cosmic Fury to make their Ultimate Power Ranger season. So I'm very curious what that means.
hmm
Uh, but yeah, that's basically a wrap on Once and Always. I'm glad that's over, and I'm glad it was good.
Yeah, you know what? It sucks that I was wrong about predicting Zed making Robo Rita, but I think this actually works way better and fits thematically with what they're doing.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. Like, while I'm a bit upset that like, oh, they have captured Rangers, but no other non-MPR suits. I'm glad there was no Cosmic Fury tie-in. That would have felt really cheap.
Yeah, could you imagine if like they just friggin' called Zato on the viewing globe or something at some point?
Yeah.
And it's like one of my small nitpicks with this. I haven't really said any of them, so I'll just throw this out there real quick. The viewing globe is right there, and they never have a observe the viewing globe moment. They're always looking at monitors on the consoles.
True. Maybe it's just there for like tribute or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go on to another Scrimblow Blimblow return. Kamen Rider Outsiders Episode 2. Okay, Vac, I know you haven't watched Saber, so what did you think of this?
I think this is a thing I watched.
I liked it a lot. It fixed a lot of my problems with Episode 1, aka they only did flashbacks when necessary. They only did at the beginning, and then the rest of it was actually like character moments of like, this is reaffirming what we loved about these characters from Saber.
Was Nico in previous episodes of this?
No, she just showed up. This is her debut.
She just shows up out of nowhere and starts talking about, like, yeah, maybe we need Arc to do a thing. Maybe Arc is right. Also, I'm gonna possibly start up Kamen Rider Chronicle again. And I was like, what?
They're just putting all the, like, the villain stuff from, like, late Heisei and, like, Reiwa in here.
It's really weird. I don't know. Yeah. Like, this wasn't bad. It was very competently directed, I thought. But a lot of it was like, this is interesting. But I think it would hit for me emotionally if I had any idea who most of these people were. Like, I'm like, oh, hey, Horobi's here, and he's just shouting generic Arc shit. Okay.
Yeah, and apparently Nico revived him?
Mm-hmm.
I did, again, the Ren and Dizast part, which is, like, the main attraction, I did really dig. That was, like, a nice reaffirmation. It was nice to see Dizast become a Kamen Rider again, because he was one before, Falchion. Because Falkion has multiple users, if you didn't know. But like as I said, for him to get his own suit, and it's a pretty good suit. And yeah, I think that's about.
It was
Well, yeah,
very blatantly a recolor, but it was fine.
yeah. I never realized what what even a recolor was. I think the helmet's new, but the body's recolor.
Yeah. It looked like stuff, and it just had that look of like, oh, this is kit bashed from a couple different things.
Yeah, which like, hey, that's kind of a thing with like all of these outsider suits. They're kit bashes, but like, hey, they're solid. This is probably the best one yet, but that's probably because I have an attachment to sabers, so it's like.
Also, it's weird that we're only on episode 2 of what's supposed to be like a 5-episode miniseries, I think, and it's been over a year since episode 0 came out.
Yeah, they're really dragging. They have the footage. They're just dragging their feet releasing it, I guess.
Yeah, like, I gotta wait to July to see how Bano comes back. Okay.
Yeah, especially because it's like it's only it's not even like these aren't movies. These are just episodes. So it's like.
Yeah, the fact that it's like proper show episode length has me like, why can't this be coming out weekly alongside the regular writer show? Just have this be the whoever we can get back this week show.
I don't know. I mean, they have the
still
footage.
needs a paycheck. Didn't become a successful actor outside of Tokusatsu.
Again, they have the footage. They made a trailer. So what's going on? Anyway, superhero talk?
Sure.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Geats, episode 32, Lamination F, The Final Judgment!
This episode was okay.
It was fine. I think it kind of cemented Geats as a good, like, 7, 8 out of 10 for me. Or it's like, I'm not super invested.
We still got, like, at least 15 episodes left to go.
I know, but, like, we're majority done. But, like, it kind of been cementing my current feelings on Geats. I'm like, this is fine, it's really well produced, I'm just not super invested as I would like to be, you know?
I thought this was a pretty solid episode. It's not like the high I usually expect from the end of a Geats arc, but I think they're building a lot of stuff thematically really well here, and I'm interested to see where it goes, unlike last week where I was like, oh god, this is boring. This is really stupid. This doesn't need to be this way. Why are we doing this? I
did like the end where Buffa's just like stops all the Kamen Riders and just basically like all the hands basically take them to hell or something.
Yeah, they did a freaking Infinity War ending.
Yeah, although there's not as many writers right now, so it didn't feel as impactful as that one.
Yeah, he's been picking them off one by one. Also, I like how he just completely forgets about Neon. He's like, I took out Tycoon. Now I just need to defeat Geats and Gazer, and I'm like, Nago's still active. She's just got a day off, dude.
I guess the writers or the production team thought, oh, she got defeated off screen, which is kind of lame if that was the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no. But like that's interesting. The fact that we like the scene where Geats goes and tries to talk to his mom and Niram is like, nah, fuck off. That was really well acted, I thought.
Yeah.
The big fight between Geats and Buffa. Love that fight. Love how they used that location.
Oh yeah, it was really well choreographed. Especially love the Geats uses Buffa's buzz sword against Buffa. That was really cool.
And we finally got the gardener's name this week.
Wait, we didn't have his name before?
No, he's always just been referred to as the gardener.
What's his name?
Archimedel. Archimedel.
I'll still call him the gardener. You can't.
He is just a little guy who turns into a big monster mash.
Yeah, that was a thing. I don't know. I think I feel like less passionate about Geats, like even last episode, because I just dislike arc. Maybe I just care about Keiwa more. I think I'm coming to realize like Keiwa and Neon are kind of.
You're Boingo pilled?
Maybe. Or just. I don't know. It's so weird because I feel disconnected because all of Twitter is gassing Geats up like this is the greatest, and I'm like, it's good, but
it's had episodes that have had me feel that way. It hasn't had me feel that way in a couple weeks now, but like I don't feel as down on it as you are. I feel like you seem to need like a constant high to be super into something, and like we're in a valley right now. We're headed back up towards a peak. I feel like
yeah, and it's like Geats has like good. Even I've just like I don't know.
Last
This
episode
arc
has
has been.
next episode has a real potential to be a high. This feels like it's building towards something.
Yeah, this entire arc has been felt like we've been building towards something, and I'm like,
Hard disagree. There's been some banger episodes this.
oh yeah, the Q and stuff. Yeah, it just like it just. I don't think this is the best show to watch weekly, honestly. Like I know some people are talking about like, yeah, Takahashi seasons. They kind of like they work better as binges than weekly experiences. With how like slowly information gets doled out, which I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Potentially. And, like, I have been defending this episode a lot, so I will say, like, my one big nitpick with this is the way frickin' Gene comes back is so lazy. He just shows up and goes, like, that's not the Geats I know. And I'm like, where the hell have you been? How do you have context for this situation? You fuck. And they just cut away to an exposition scene where he's like, oh, I've been delving into the DGP archives. And I'm like, I thought you were going to touch grass. What happened?
I don't know. It's like we know why the actor couldn't be there, but they could have written it better in story, you know?
Yeah, it really does feel like we just didn't have this character for a couple of weeks, and now we do.
Yeah, I mean, at least there were some cool like moments of him throwing the laser driver to Geats. So there's a lot of really good action of the Geats versus Gazer fight. I really like that fight.
Oh yeah, that was cool. But overall, solid episode, just not the most hype.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, yeah. As for some hype, Osama Sentai King-Ohger, Episode 8, King and Prince in Trial Combat.
Trial by Combat.
This was really good.
Yeah, we finally got the debut of Okuagata Oger, and it looks fine. It looks pretty good in motion.
Yeah, I like his little the little catchphrase his thingy has, the sword.
It's very distinctly different from everyone else's. It's weird that they haven't explained it though. I feel like that's going to be in the YouTube spin-off.
Oh yeah, 100% YouTube special. Like the YouTube special.
Like I bet you that scientist lady just made it for him.
Yeah, it's like a little like, oh, this is the legendary sword, but this is the sword, like a backup sword in case you lose the legendary sword, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or he was like, God damn it, my sword got stolen. Make me a new one. Yeah.
But yeah, this was really just affirming Gira's thing while also making him kind of lose. Like he kind of, this is his first big loss of the show, where it's like,
and it's interesting that like he doesn't have a lot of agency in this episode too. This is a lot of stuff happening to him and other characters commenting on it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's kind of like to beat him down so he can rise again, presumably with that new power up. So
yeah, but like, I don't love the actual choreography of the fight between him and Hercules, but I did really enjoy finally getting to see those suits in a quarry. For as cheesy as that sounds, like...
Oh no, there's been a lot of great quarry shots in King-Ohger. It's great.
Yeah, but we haven't seen, like, the actual ranger suits in a quarry yet, so it was nice to finally see it.
We saw it in Black State.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I'm just so... Like, so much of this show is shot in the volume that I'm so used to, like, oh, they never take these suits outside, so when they do, it's like, oh, hey, here we go. But also, like, all the little, like, political maneuvering between the various kingdoms to be like, we can't let him kill Gira, we need Gira for shit, was very interesting to watch.
Yeah, also Dabowski, like, all his faces in this. Like, this actor is really good with the comedic faces.
Yeah, your man is really playing all the angles.
Yeah. And it's, like, very interesting, because he wants Gira alive, but he also just Gira should die, and it's like, well, what's he cooking?
Yeah. Like, and that whole hilarious sequence of them outlining the plan was so good.
Yeah, little bobbleheads. It was great.
They
also,
didn't have to illustrate it that way, but they did.
Yeah. There's just a lot of creative way the show looks. Great. No Megazord fight this episode, or Mecha fight this episode.
Yeah, they kind of cut that off by the heels. There's really not even much of a monster plot. It's there, but it gets very quickly obfuscated to dump more shit on top of Gira.
Yeah, it's like, man, this poor tortured boy. Mm-hmm. And basically this is just reaffirm, like, while this is like basically cementing how big of a threat Hercules is, like with his Okuagata, it does kind of like give Gira like more motivation to beat his asses. And especially like we also got to hear his theme song again, which is good. They're not forgetting his insert.
Yeah, and I love that there's just one dude in Shogadam who's just really against him and hates the kids for supporting him.
Oh yeah, I love I love that we're getting recurring characters in each kingdom, and I think the next episode's gonna focus on all the recurring characters. That's gonna be fun. I thought we weren't gonna get that till like the halfway point.
No, it looks like we're getting a fair amount. And again, like not the most hype episode ever, but really solid.
It's a build-up week, and like yeah, we got a debut, but it's like it's still like building to like something bigger, you know. It's still kind of the same old Hercules is a bastard. We gotta stop him eventually, but he's still in control.
Yeah, if I were to have like one real nitpick of this episode, it would just be that like they don't have a big like oh shit moment with King-Ohger debuting. It's just kind of like it's here, and Gira goes like, "Oh, I don't have to hold back in the fight now." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been a solid like it's not been as high as the character focused like debuts, but it's been like a solid few weeks of King-Ohger, I'd say. Old stuff and toys?
I guess so.
Yeah. You go first if you're Mega Rangers.
I watched 4 more episodes of Mega Ranger this week. They were all right. Mega Ranger is a very all right show.
Yeah.
I'm up to episode 36.
Neat.
We got I should say, like, there was a little standout 2-parter at the end there of, first of all, we fixed the timer problem with Mega Silver, in a very funny episode where half the team thinks he's dying, and they're trying to... they overhear, like, a conversation between him and another scientist, and something, you don't have much time left. And it's like, and they're like, oh shit, he has cancer, he's gonna die. We have to be brave and strong for him and give him a good few last days. But also we can't let the others know because we don't want them to be sad. And hilarity ensues. But then at the end of the episode, he's like, you idiots, I was just fixing the timer issue with my suit. Now I can stay transformed indefinitely. And then the week after that, the Mega Winger debuts.
Nice.
I've never been a big fan of that mech, but like its debut in the Japanese is pretty well done.
Should I talk about Ultraman Orb?
Sure.
Alright, I've been continuing. This is technically the last legally available new gen show I can cover. I still have Taiga to get to. But I watched Ultraman Orb, which I've been meaning to do for a while. And yeah, Ultraman Orb is pretty darn good. This is where Juggler comes from.
Yeah, I need to watch that one at some point.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Guy. Basically, every time you see Orb in this show is actually a big spoiler. Because that is his technical final form, but it's treated as his base form after he gets his final form, because his final form is Orb Origin. Or Orbigen, as some people have cited it. I really... The build-up to that form is really good. I really enjoy... Orb looks great in general. I really like the support team in this show, because they're basically a bunch of wannabes. They run a website. They're not like super official. They just kind of like independently fund. They're a bunch of goofballs, but that still leads to them having a lot of heart to their antics, which is really cool. I really enjoy that support team. And Juggler is really good. I really like his rivalry with Orb, even if this redemption kind of felt... The entire ending I wasn't really a big fan of, just because it felt a bit rushed. It felt like, alright, it's time to end. It kind of felt similar to Ultraman X's ending, where it's like, alright, we reached our limit, time for a final boss. And yeah, I heard the movie's a better finale, but I haven't watched the movie yet, so I'll get there soon. But like, yeah. But I overall really enjoyed Orb. It's another banger new gen show, about the same on par of X for me.
I remember when this show was coming out, this was like a week after week thing of Ultraman fans posting about it like crazy while I was watching whatever Kamen Rider and Sentai were out at the time. And just like whenever they start yelling spoilers about an episode, because I had no idea about it or really Ultraman in general at the time, I was just that meme of the cat looking over the snow going, the fuck they doing over there?
Yeah, I mean, Orb has some, like, this has probably been a really fun week-to-week watch with how, like, fun it gets. Because, like, yeah, it's just a really solid show. They don't really explain a lot of the lore, and I know why, because apparently Orb was supposed to be a 10-part series, And
What?
this was supposed to be part 5 of that 10-part series. I don't know. Someone said that apparently, like in the production team. And then they have an Orb Origin mini-series for Amazon Prime, which I have on DVD. I'll get to it eventually. That was like supposed to be part 1, and I'm like, what were they cooking back then?
That's insanely ambitious.
Yeah, and apparently the movie was supposed to be part 6, and the Gene movie was part 7, or like I think that was Ultra Fight Orb. They wanted Orb is still relatively popular, but it didn't really pan out the way they wanted it to, or at least the way the creator wanted it to. But hey, Orb is still a really well received Ultra series, and I will get to Orb Origin Saga at one point. I have it on Blu-ray.
Also, I just checked. This show came out in 2016, which was the same year as Ghost, Amazons, and King-Ohger.
Yeah, it was a crazy year for that. And like Orb was simulcasted on Crunchyroll. This was like after X's success. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember. I full on remember. I know a big spoiler regarding Jugless Juggler in this show, because the first time I ever heard the word Jugless Juggler was somebody yelling on Twitter about like, "Oh my God, Jugless Juggler killed the entire rest of the villain cast and said I'm the main villain now." And I was like,
yeah, the villains in the show are kind of dull, honestly. And even then, the final, just outside of Juggler, like everyone else is kind of boring. So, that's kind of a shame. I wish there were, because Juggler's a big personality. I wish there was other big personalities, so to bounce off him instead of just like, oh, look at this wacky Juggler guy. Ain't he so fun? Ain't he and Guy have all the homosexual tension?
Oh boy.
Should I also talk about the movies I watched?
Oh. You saying the word homosexual reminded me, we forgot to mention during Once and Always. First canon on-screen male gay couple in Power Rangers.
And they're a bunch of background characters.
And they're also the set photo that we thought was going to be very in poor taste originally.
Yeah.
So, nice to have that whole weird few weeks explained in my head now.
Yeah, that happens. Should I get to the movies now?
Sure.
Alright, I don't got much to say on these, because these are like tie-in movies. I watched Ginga S and X's movies, because I want to get through like all the new Gen Ultra movies. Ginga S's was basically the show, a lot of cool action with like not much underwritten characters. Wasn't like it was cool to see all the Heisei Ultras, because Ginga S had a power-up that where it's like, this is all the Showa Ultras, and this is like now the fusion between Ginga and Ginga Victory is like, oh, this is the power of all the Heisei Ultras. So it's nice to see all of them, and Zero again. Like, Zero really like showing up in these movies. He's the most popular Ultraman. And it was fine. It was basically, X's movie I enjoyed more, but that's because I enjoyed the cast of X more. I did enjoy X's new form. I think X's new form is really cool. Like, where it's like a combination of the original Ultraman and Tiga giving him like very cool space armor. That's really good. And it had a really nice subplot with like this kid and his mom, or like I forgot it was his mom, but like this kid and this other woman kind of like discovering Ultraman, or trying to protect the Ultraman and like giving the powers, and it's cute. And like the cast of X is still really charming. It kind of felt more of a finale to X than the actual show, because X does the thing of like, I need to go back to my home planet of all the other Ultras. See ya, Daichi. So yeah, that's a whole thing. I don't know. It's a cute movie. If you like the X cast, I would recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah, again, those are tie-in movies.
All right. Well, I also got a lot of fucking toys this week, so
oh boy.
I'll try and run through these as fast as I can. First of all, I got iGuy because BBTS was having a sale and they had iGuy for $17, and I said that's probably the best price I'm going to see him for anytime soon, so I'll go ahead and grab him. And if you ignore the fact that not every eye on him is painted, and he doesn't have like the black wash he probably should, it's a really good action figure. The sculpt is really nice. What paint they did get on him does a lot for it. And for a monster figure, the articulation is crazy good. I think, like, because he's a much more, like, generally humanoid shape without a lot of weird extremities, he has the best articulation of any of the monster figures I own. Like, Pumpkin Rapper and King Sphinx, they do still have like a pretty humanoid shape, but Pumpkin Rapper is like weirdly lanky, and Sphinx's joints are just like kind of very one note. But there's a lot of range to Eye Guy, and you can get him into a couple different really cool poses. And I like that he comes with his scout form and effects parts for both it and his regular form, and that the eye is on like a really cool ball jointed cap system that lets you do some pretty creative stuff with it. I don't know if he tops Snizzard, because I really like Snizzard's design, and I think he's one of the more versatile ones, but he is a really solid Monsters figure, and I'm really happy with him, especially considering the price I got him for. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I got remastered MMPR Blue and Yellow, and they are pretty good. I have some minor nitpicks with them, like the Blade Blasters have holes in them for effects parts, but they can't fit any of the effects parts I have, including like several different Lightning Collection ones I tried. It's a weird durometer I've never seen before. So I don't know if they're going to be releasing effects parts specifically for these Blade Blasters with stuffing at some point, but as is, it's kind of weird. Also, the arm on my Trini, I believe it's her right arm, is a little stiff at the shoulder. I'm not able to get it to go all the way down, which is kind of weird, because party selling point with these is the articulation is much more robust than it had been before. So, like, that's an issue, and then also, like, getting Billy in the morphing pose was way harder than I expected it to be. Trini, it's pretty easy to approximate it, but Billy, for some reason, one of his arms, I just can't get it to sit quite right until, like, a lot of fudging. And the unhelmeted heads, I really like the David Yost head. It reminds me a lot of the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Captain America, with it being like a very lifelike, realistic looking plain white guy face with a really nice wash in the hair. The glasses go on and stay on. They are really securely in there, and it looks great with the glasses on or off. So if you wanted to use this head to make a custom like Zeo civilian Billy, you could, I think. The TWIT head, it looks a lot like her. I think the sculpt is there, but the hair, for some reason, they gave it a glossy finish, so it doesn't look as lifelike as the David Yost sculpt. It has an almost doll-like quality to it. But our getting these guys into like dynamic fighting poses and standing them next to the rest of the team, they are pretty good. I definitely like the colors and the proportions on them a lot better than the original releases. So I'm happy with these. I don't feel like I got gypped out of them, especially because I don't have an MMPR blue or yellow at the moment. But like I said earlier in the show, I'm stopping here. I'm not getting any of the other remasters because I already have a black and a red, and I'm fairly certain I can hunt down a pink and a green if I really want to. Like, it would be nice to have them all matching with the pinless shoulders and elbows, but as I've said many a time, while I think pinless technology is cool, the fact that it exists now doesn't automatically ruin figures that don't have it for me. But yeah, they're solid. I think they're worth picking up, especially if you don't have the originals. But I don't know. That's a weird investment to suggest people make now. And similarly, I also got the SH Figuarts Wizard Effects set. That just came in today. I was actually expecting it last week because I bought it on eBay from a seller in Australia, and they originally said it should be here by the 19th, but then it got held up in customs for like half a week. So it just got here today, and having only messed around with it for like an hour, I was messing around with it while I was rewatching Once and Always today. I like it, but it's not as compatible with the Shinchoku Seiho as I was originally led to believe by friend of the show Tim Ziaman. And I only specifically call him out because he did that on the show. So like people will remember when we got the 10th anniversary Wizard Figure Arts announcement, he was like, "Oh yeah, you can get the effects set, and it works just as well." Some parts of it do, some parts of it don't. Like the big effects part to have him have the giant hand. It comes with a swappable forearm piece for putting that effects on. You straight up cannot swap the Shinchoku Seiho's forearm. It is really tightly on there, so much so that, like, if I try and yank any tighter on it, I'm worried I'll flat out break it, and I'm not going to do that. But I was able to fudge it with some photography to make it look okay, so it's not the end of the world. The spell rings look really good, and they're pretty easy to put on. The little familiars are really nice additions. They didn't have to put them in there, but it's nice that they did. You get a bunch of new, or I guess old, but new to me, sculpts of the Wizard sword gun, because you get like the sword and the gun version of it as solid pieces, but you also get like half versions of it, so you can pose it like he's summoning it through the connect ring. And you also get a bunch of actual effects parts for, there's one for doing a water slash strike, one for doing a heat shooting strike, and one for doing a kick strike. And those were all kind of sticky, because for those of you who aren't aware, certain types of plastics, when they degrade over time, they just get sticky. Like, that's happened with a lot of original 80s Ninja Turtle figures, and that happened here. I had to basically take those and wash them with soapy water for like 10 minutes before I felt comfortable using them. And even then, they still have a little bit of stick to them. But they look fairly good, and they're not entirely compatible, but you can fudge them in for certain things. Like, I was able to get it to the kick strike effect to sit on the sword gun in one shot fairly well, but it is not sculpted correctly to wrap around the Shinchoku Seiho's leg. And weirdly, the shooting strike effect, the hole for it was too small to fit onto the sword gun that actually comes in the effects set. I had to take a box cutter and kind of widen the hole a little bit to make it work. So overall, not the best set, but like I was able to fudge it quite a bit to work for my purposes. Like, I wouldn't say run out and grab this if you have the Shinchoku Seiho, because it's perfectly compatible. But if you're willing to do a bit of kit bashing, if you're willing to do some clever angles with your photography, it'll still work for most everything you want to do, and I'm happy with it, because, I mean, I got it for $50 from Australia, which I think is about what it originally retailed for. And yeah, I had to wait quite a while, but it still got here, and it got here in one piece. And the eBay seller gave me a ton of extra shit. Like, they were only advertising that it would, the sale did say plus free gift, and in the photos you could see this little wizard land style statuette, which is fairly nice. The paint is a little bit globby in spots, but it looks fairly spot on, and it's a nice little bit of merch to throw on your shelf. But also, I got like 2 chibi statuettes of Forze and Garen, and keychains of O's Tajador and Birth, which was not expecting all. That's a lot of bang for my buck right there, and I'm really appreciative of the bestseller for throwing all of that in. I don't know I don't recognize, like, the line that the statues are from, but I definitely am going to be keeping them on my shelf for the time being. And hey, I technically have Force merch now, so maybe I should watch Force soon.
Yeah, Forza!
Yeah, so overall, a fairly good week for toys. Nothing like world-changing, but some solid stuff with a few nitpicks here and there.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good summation of this week on a whole, because it's been a lot of all over the place news with some good points, some bad points, and a lot of releases that were like, yeah, this is really good. Didn't blow us away, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's it for this podcast. Should I show myself?
Yeah. Oh my God, a 2-hour twit.
Yeah, we did it, boys. Again, hi, I'm Buster Corp. I do various videos on various topics over on my channel. I do podcast, I do analysis. Sometimes I just make clips from this channel and put them on here, my channel, and just like, hey, here's a little point to make to get some views. Last video I didn't upload this week. The only thing I uploaded was like a McDonald's content video, as I called them, but just a little bonus of just here's me ranting about the new Justice League Cross Ruby movie. I am working on a video. It's like 9 pages. For the record, my videos are usually 2 to 3 pages, so I'm cooking. Give it time, and just check out my backlog. I'm also at Twitter at BusterBoy3 if you just want to see some stream of consciousness shit. I also do a podcast, Liquid Podcast Turbo. You can find it on my channel and on Spotify, so yeah.
And I'm the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos about things and stuff. I got a video coming out later this week that I think Power Rangers fans will want to check out. So head over to my channel, like, comment, subscribe. It's at the Vacuuminator on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter at the Vacuuminator, on Tumblr, thevacuuminator.tumblr.com, on Instagram, posting action figure photography at _Vacuuminator, and on TikTok, posting clips of my videos at the _Vacuuminator. But folks, finally, I think that's it for this very long week in Tokusatsu. We'll see you back here next week for whatever happens that week in Tokusatsu. Oh God, I'm dying.